Looking for a way through on the inside at corner, and they're side by side as they come into the corner. Who's going to come out in front? It's Hales. Mark Hales leads. Jerry Marshall is pushed down to second. Third is Kent. Fourth is Mark Hughes, and they are all closing up to one another now. Out of Russell. A real car-braking corner. Russell, you go down through the gears, hard on the brakes, really does grind through the transmission, and now the cars accelerate up over the line. Hales in the lead. Marshall then in second place. Third place is still John Kent. Mark Hughes is fourth. Fifth is Steve Cole. Sixth is number 26. That's Simon Wayne. And there is Jerry Marshall on the limit through the long right-hander of Ritchie's. Heading up towards Sear now. Mark Hales, number 39, the reigning TVR Tuscan champion, trying to escape. And there is Steve Cole, who is now pulling away from Wayne and closing, despite running wide there at Sear, onto the tail of Mark Hughes. Steve Cole tucked right up behind Hughes, who's looking for a way past Kent and also trying to block Steve Cole. The leaders, though, coming down into the S's. John Kent looking for a way past Jerry Marshall. Steve Cole looking for a way past Mark Hughes. Number 3, Liverpool driver, Steve Cole, tucked right up behind the journalist. Mark Hughes gets very sideways in the S's. Races the dust. That's Blower! That's Colin Blower who has gone off. He started second on the grid. It has not been a happy day for him. As there, number 18, John McQuilkin, turns through, the man who swapped his Lotus Carlton road car for a Tuscan, and is now discovering what a hairy car is really all about. He's battling away with Nigel Tuscan there, the ex-historic TVR racer. Tuscan in the red car, looking for a way through on the inside of Maidenhead driver McQuilkin, as down they come into the S's. Nigel Tuscan decides he's better off tucked up behind McQuilkin as they come then down into the left and right-handers of the S's. Tuscan locking up there, getting away with it. Yellow flag being waved at Russell, so somebody has gone off in a big way, but here come the leaders. Mark Hales, Jerry Marshall, John Kent, the top 3. There is Kent, the Norweb-sponsored Tuscan. Turning through Ridges, there's a squeal of tires behind it. It's Steve Cole going off. Steve Cole spins. Fab 1, it says on the back, but that was not a fab way to go around the corner. A big spin for the Liverpudlian. He rejoins. More places lost. Andy Purvis returning to the Tuscan Challenge goes past in the green car, and it was Rod Gretton who had spun at Russell. There is Gretton rejoining. The yellow flag withdrawn. Hinkley driver Rod Gretton sets off back into the action. His first year of TVR Tuscan racing, but been a stalwart of TVRs in the past. Leaders coming now into the bomb hole. Jerry Marshall closing up once again to performance car journalist Mark Hales in the lead, and there now up into 5th place is Simon Wayne, the ex-Formula Ford 1600 racer, closing on Mark Hughes. The leaders coming down into Russell. Flames spitting out of the exhaust of Hales' car. There's Jerry Marshall, riding all over the curbs. He's very physical with the cars here, is Jerry Marshall, bouncing over the curbs, crashing up and down through the gears. He's accelerating up over the line, but being caught by John Kent, and I think Marshall's got a problem. John Kent is second. Jerry Marshall has slowed right down. Mark Hughes goes up to third. Simon Wayne fourth. And Jerry Marshall is in big trouble. You could just see a glimpse of the yellow car in the background as he coasts over the line. Jerry Marshall's race is run, and that now takes the pressure off Mark Hales in the lead, or does it, because John Kent is closing. Mark Hughes goes through in third place, the brother of Formula 3 driver Warren Hughes, and there is Jerry Marshall's car being pushed away as out of the pits comes Rod Gretton. Race leader Hales on his way down to Russell, but the man to watch is John Kent. His car behaving better in this second part of the race, and he's closing up to the leader as Mark Hughes gets all sideways there. Round it goes. Mark Hughes, the journalist, spins it away at Russell, gets it into reverse gear, keeps the engine running, full marks for that, and he is now able, by clipping the curbs and touching the gravel, to rejoin. So Mark Hughes continues in the race, but he's lost a place to Simon Wayne. The two leaders, nose to tail now. Mark Hales with John Kent right up behind him. What can Kent do to find a way past Hales? Well, he uses a lot more of the concrete there, coming out of the tight right-hander of Sear corner. Cadwell winner Kent tucked right up behind the vastly experienced Mark Hales. They're on their way now down to the S's. Is he going to go through under braking? He's having a look on the inside line. John Kent goes through into the lead, or does he? Mark Hales does not give him any room at all. They're side by side into the S's. Kent going through on the outside, but he spins. Kent spins it. Round goes the number 27 car of John Kent. It disappears backwards off in a cloud of dust. So Mark Hales comes through all on his own in the lead. It's going to be yet another victory for the bearded journalist. Simon Wayne moves up into second place, and John Kent will be furious with himself for spinning it away at the S's. So for the final time out of Russell comes Mark Hales. He's going to win here at Snetterton. He accelerates now up towards the line. John Kent recovers to take 7th place, but victory goes to Mark Hales. He crosses the line, chased home by Simon Wayne, with Mark Hughes finishing in 3rd, his best ever TVR Tuscan result. Steve Cole, despite a spin, is 4th, Mark Newman 5th, and Andy Purvis, returning to Tuscans, is 6th. Mark Hales in the centre of the 3 drivers on the podium, winning and extending his lead in the championship. He's a happy man. Mark Hales lines up on pole position for the 11th round of this year's TVR Tuscan Challenge, the race for the Land Rover Trophy. Hales, the reigning champion and this year's championship leader, with Steve Cole alongside him on the front row of the grid. Cole, the Liverpudlian, eager to beat Hales here at Silverstone, while on the second row is a big threat. Ian Flux is back in a Tuscan and determined to beat Hales here. Alongside him is Colin Blower, who won earlier on in the year at Mallory Park, and Blower has been out of the winner's circle in the last few rounds. The third row sees John Kent lining up alongside Mark Newman, going extremely well. Row 4 is Jerry Marshall alongside TVR chairman Peter Wheeler, with the fifth row being Mark Hughes and ex-Le Mans winner Andy Wallace out in the HRO in back car. 15 laps, Silverstone's national circuit each go. Good start by Steve Cole there from the inside of the front row of the grid, but Mark Hales sets off at a good pace. We're on board with Ian Flux looking at John Kent on the outside of us. Peter Wheeler going well there. He's cleansing up on a braking. Jerry Marshall locks up on the outside. Somebody's off. Gavin Cooper there. Goes off, takes Bob Sands with him, takes Rod Breton with him. 3 cars off there at Copse on the opening lap. Mark Hughes there in the red Tuscan runs very wide at Beckett's, being challenged by Jerry Marshall, whose team had to rebuild the engine after practice before this race. Marshall, though, losing out. Nick Cresswell goes past him on the run down in towards Brooklands. There's somebody in the background with flapping bodywork. Hales leading at Brooklands on lap 1. Mark Hughes turns through. There's Cresswell, then Simon Wayne, a long way back for him. And there's the battered car of Andy Purvis, ex-motorcycle racer. He switched away from a Marcos GT car back to a Tuscan, but the Tuscan looks very second-hand. He's into Luffield. John Kent is through Woodcote and up across the line. The red dot in the distance is Mark Hales, and that's Martin Stewart spinning off at Brooklands. He was disqualified from practice for overtaking under the yellow flags. He started at the back, and now he's spun. John Kent there, the Norweb gas back car turning out of Copse, and Ian Flux is out of the race. Ian Flux pulling off. The car sounds horrible. I suspect he's got a gearbox problem of some sort, but Flux is going no further. Hales on his way to Brooklands. John Kent being caught, I think, by Colin Blower. The two of them now set for a real battle. If they can hold themselves up, that will all benefit Mark Hales, who's still in the lead. Through the right-hander now. In comes the power, up through Woodcote. John Kent, a vastly experienced driver of Tuscans and also of TVRs since the late 70s, when he used to race them in production sports cars against Colin Blower. Blower went off to race Porsches in production sports cars and then Colt Saran turbos in production saloons, but he's now back behind the wheel of a TVR and he's doing extremely well. A former champion and closing on Kent. That is Nigel Tustin going off at Brooklands, fighting for control. He's on the grass, it's a bit slippery, and eventually round it goes. So Tustin trying to rejoin. Andy Purvis heading for the pits. Not surprising because the rear of his Tuscan is falling apart. A lot of the fiberglass bodywork ripped off there, and Andy Purvis limps down the pit lane. There's the leader, Mark Hales. Kent and Blower are getting a bit closer to him. Colin Blower is determined, as you can see, to find a way past John Kent as they come into Brooklands. And I rather wonder whether Hales may have some sort of a problem, because certainly Kent and Blower are much, much closer. Cole, Steve Cole in trouble there. Hand out of the cockpit, he pulls off onto the oval. He's going not much further. Hales, Kent and Blower, first, second and third, are coming through Woodcote Corner. And I don't think this race is over by any means yet as far as the lead battle is concerned. It could be over for Andy Wallace though, because that car is slowing. Wallace out in the car that we've seen Tim Harvey and Perry McCarthy drive in the past. But Wallace in trouble. He's heading for the pit lane. Here are the leaders. Hales certainly being caught by Kent and Blower. The championship leader, Mark Hales, comes into Beckett's, hard on the brakes, turns the car into the right-hander. A wide approach, Kent right there behind him. Could well be that Mark Hales' tyres are now going off a little bit, but Colin Blower is looking for a way past John Kent. All of these three drivers could yet win this race. Hales has the advantage of being in front, but Blower is really on a charge. He's going through on the inside of Kent, up into second place. Super bit of driving that by Blower. Neat and tidy, controls the car well. Kent looking for that second place back, but it's not to be. Hales is going to come out in front. John Kent looking for second place on the inside at Luffield too. There's Blower, still in second place. So Colin Blower is second. Hales has a good look in the mirror. He sees the Harrogate Horseless Carriages back car of Colin Blower in second place, and Hales now knows he's got to go for it. Colin Blower breaking away slightly from John Kent. We look at further battles. Mick Schofield coming into Brooklands with an effort made on the inside there of Chris Webster's white car by Roger Connell. Connell, who has raced TVR Tuscans of the 60s variety in historic sports car events, and Chris Webster, a man who swapped his road car Sierra Cosworth for a Tuscan a few years ago. Connell with a very distinctive livery on the flanks of his TVR, right up behind Webster. We're on board with Kent. We're looking at the lead battle. We're on the last lap, and Blower is all over the back of Hales. Mark Hales making that car as wide as is possible, in a polite manner, you understand, with Colin Blower looking for a way past him. He's tucked right up behind him, though, now, trying to get a toe down the club straight and then dive out at the last possible moment at Brooklands. But Hales gives Blower the outside line. It's not really the ideal place to try. Colin Blower comes into the corner. Hales determined to win this race at Silverstone, the Land Rover Trophy, a prestigious round of the championship, and Blower looking for a way past on the inside, the door closed. They come out nose to tail, headlights ablaze on Blower's car. Mark Hales in the red Tuscan is the race leader, the championship leader, the flag beckons. It's going to be a virtual dead heat as Blower comes up to the outside, but Hales just has enough drag to put him ahead again, and Mark Hales is going to win round 11 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. He does so by 13/100ths of a second from Colin Blower, with John Kent taking third place ahead of Mark Newman fourth, with Simon Wayne fifth, and Peter Wheeler completing the top six. Mark Hales increases his lead in the championship, though, after a splendid battle. He's joined there on the podium by Blower and Kent after a hard race. The TVR Tuscan Challenge at Snetterton round 12 was a double header. The first race was very much a Jerry Marshall benefit, certainly over the opening laps, as the TVR centre car pulled away from the rest of the field. In the closing stages, though, disaster. As Marshall had an overheating problem, it caused his retirement, and up from fourth into the lead came Colin Blower. He'd had an earlier clash with Mark Hales. Hales had a problem with a lack of third gear, but Blower had no dramas at all. He was able to make his way up towards the checkered flag and victory by over 6 seconds from the opposition. Blower, out of the winner's circle in the last few races, was back, and back with a vengeance. The gap between Hales and Blower in the championship was coming down. It put Blower on pole position for the second race, and it restored his confidence with another win. Steve Cole took second and Simon Wayne third, ahead of Peter Wheeler, Mark Newman and Nick Cresswell completing the top six. But with a number of the regular frontrunners starting at the back of the grid, among them Jerry Marshall and John Kent, race 2 was going to be a cracker. We're on board with Chris Maris, who retired from the earlier race after a stone punctured the radiator, and Chris Maris finds himself a long way back on the grid. The lights go green, it's blast off, he's already up alongside John Kent, rocketing past Charlotte Osborne, but just look at Jerry Marshall go. Jerry Marshall ahead there in the orange car, who retired from the first race with overheating, is absolutely storming his way through the field. Marshall goes up, clipping the curb on the inside, lets the back step out, clips the curb again, on his way up towards Sear Corner. Dirt and dust being kicked up as Marshall outbreaks Mick Schofield. He's up alongside Mark Hales as well, and through he goes. Jerry Marshall is absolutely flying. Chris Maris blasts his way now down the Rivet Straight, but it's Blower and Cole battling first and second, and number 69, Jerry Marshall, rockets down the inside of Rod Greffin, who's got a mirror that's come loose already. There's Nick Cresswell, number 33, looking for a way past, but Jerry Marshall is on a real charge. An incredible first lap from him. Under the vehicle bridge they go. The leader swinging through the right-hander of the bomb hole, and Jerry Marshall looks to be up into fifth place already as Bob Sands goes past Chris Maris on the inside there. Through Coram. Blower it is in the lead, Cole in second place, third is Simon Wayne, fourth is Mark Newman going exceptionally well, and in fifth place is Jerry Marshall. Jerry Marshall coming through in fifth place then at the end of lap 1, the dust being kicked up, but Marshall, who don't forget started a long way down on the grid, having retired in the earlier race, he was 18th on the grid, he's now 5th, he's now 4th, he's ahead of Mark Newman as they get to Riches. Through the right-hander, up towards Sear, we're still on board with Maris, and that ahead is Bob Sands, he's looking for a way past him. No chance to get through there. Sands drifting out wide, possibly Chris Maris able to have a run as they make their way down the Rivet Straight, and again Bob Sands just with enough grunt in a straight line to fend off the Cheshire driver. Sands moves across, Maris has to try the outside line. Steve Cole there locking up and staying with him, very much so, is Simon Wayne. It's still Colin Blower, the race 1 winner in the lead. Marshall there in fourth, and more smoke out of the back. Now, we saw that in the first race today, and it eventually led to Jerry Marshall's retirement with overheating. Maybe it's going to happen again, who knows? Rod Gretton there, number 2, losing a place as Bob Sands goes past him on the inside. Blower, Cole and Wayne, first, second and third, dropping down into Russell with Jerry Marshall closing up hand over fist in fourth place with the yellow car. Jerry Marshall, number 69, having started 18th, is flying. In fifth place there is Mark Hales, down to 6th is Mark Newman, and 7th and 8th are Sands and Maris, and we're on board with Chris Maris here now. Glorious noise from the V8 4.5 litre engine of the TVR Tuscans. Across the line goes Chris Maris, through Riches go the leaders, and Steve Cole is all over the back of Colin Blower. This lead battle delaying those involved and allowing Jerry Marshall there in fourth place, turning through Sear now to close up, but he's being caught in turn by Mark Hales, the championship leader. Steve Cole in trouble possibly there, he pulls to one side, up alongside him and past him goes Simon Wayne, down into the S's they go. It is Blower then in the lead, Simon Wayne is the new second place, but Colin Blower goes off! Colin Blower spins. He was in the lead, he's now on the grass, he's able to rejoin. Jerry Marshall goes up to third with all the smoke, and off goes Rod Gretton. Blower and Gretton, who raced TVRs in prod sports in the late 70s, both go off together. Well, the same part of the circuit at any rate. Colin Blower is able to rejoin, but he has lost an awful lot of ground now. Here is the new race leader. It is Simon Wayne, with up into second place now. Steve Cole, third is Mark Hales. Cole looking up there. Hales is ahead of Jerry Marshall, and Marshall dropping back. We've seen a bit more of that smoke coming from the rear of number 69, so maybe Marshall has got a problem once again. There goes Mark Hales, who lost third gear early on in the first race after having a little clash with Colin Blower. But Simon Wayne, the race leader, comes up over the line with now Steve Cole and Mark Hales battling for second place. Hales in the red car goes to the inside of the former champion. They're side by side into the corner. Hales has the tighter line. He should be able to go through to second place. He clips the curve. He does go through. Up into second position then goes Mark Hales, and Steve Cole is down in third but still fighting. Jerry Marshall is fourth, being caught by this man, Chris Maris. We're on board now with Maris out of Sear along the Revitt Straight. Up a gear goes Chris Maris as Mark Hales comes into the braking area for the S's. Ex-British Touring Car Championship driver turning now out of the right-hand element of the S's. More smoke from the back of Jerry Marshall's car. That is very bad news. It led to his retirement in the first race with overheating. Can Jerry Marshall get to the end of this second 15-lap dash safely? Chris Maris coming into Coram Curve, applying all the power very gingerly indeed. Doesn't want the car to drift out wide and risk having a moment. Second, third, fourth and fifth, diving down into Russell then. In sixth place, recovering after his spin, is Colin Blower. But the Trinity Sport car of Chris Maris chasing after Jerry Marshall. John Kent up into seventh place, another driver who had dramas in the first race, and John Kent started 17th on the grid. Marshall being passed, Chris Maris goes past him, and Maris goes past Steve Cole as well. A super bit of driving. Chris Maris rockets between the two cars. Now, have they both got problems? Well, certainly Steve Cole has slowed right down. He turns to the right hand of Riches. Steve Cole, I fear, is heading for retirement. A lot of drivers here this weekend have suffered from stones puncturing the radiators. Maybe Cole's got that problem as well. Mark Hales down into the S's. The new third place man, Chris Maris, up into fourth is now John Kent. Down to fifth goes Colin Blower. Blower driving up through the field after a spin. Kent moving up through the field after a lowly grid position caused by retiring from the first race. But here, with no dramas at all, it seems, is Simon Wayne. Second place, Mark Hales coming down into Russell. Now, Hales doesn't have to worry about what's going on behind him. He can pick his lines. He can start to attack Simon Wayne. And Hales knows all about winning TVR Tuscan races. He goes up through the gears as we swing now through the complex of Russell with Chris Maris. Maris going very well indeed here. Real contrast to the last time at Snetterton, where he retired on the warming-up lap. Simon Wayne freewheeling his way through Riches. Across the line comes Chris Maris, nervously looking alongside him, and that's the reason why Blower goes through. Colin Blower swings around the outside of Chris Maris, moving up ahead. Blower won the first race. He started from pole, but a spin early on in this race dropped him back down the order. Into Sear they go. Race leader Simon Wayne coming into the S's. Into the left-hander, then the right-hander, in with the power once again, under the vehicle bridge, and that's Chris Maris in trouble. Chris Maris waving people past him. He retired from race 1. It looks like he's going to retire from race 2 also. And Jerry Marshall's in trouble as well. Jerry Marshall pulls off. We've seen the smoke getting worse and worse throughout the race, and now Jerry Marshall pulls off with what I fear is going to be a repeat of the overheating problems he had in the first race of the day. Chris Maris pulls off onto the escape road. Looked as though the car got a little bit crossed up there. Maybe there's oil on the circuit, and possibly that's come out of the rear of Jerry Marshall's car. Maris threads his way through the escape road back onto the circuit and carries on, so maybe he's not retiring after all. Simon Wayne, the race leader, comes down into the S's. He gets the car all crossed up. There must be oil on the circuit. Simon Wayne recovers and carries on. Full marks to him as Mark Hales comes down the road straight and goes straight on. Mark Hales goes straight on up the escape road. Smoke from the tiles as he eventually slows the car down. Now, can he rejoin without losing too much time? Simon Wayne threads his way through Russell, and Mark Hales is turning the car around and going the wrong way up the escape road to get back onto the circuit. So a lot of time lost for Mark Hales, having overshot the corner there. Mark Hughes swinging into the S's. He rejoins, and there is Hales. He's gone, as I say, back up the escape road onto the circuit again. Simon Wayne wins, though, here at Snetterton, his first victory of the season, and a splendid race that was. Colin Blower comes across the line in second place, with Mark Hughes third ahead of Mark Hales in fourth. Bob Sands and Mick Schofield going exceptionally well to complete the top 6. So Simon Wayne wins, but it's Mark Hales who still leads the championship ahead of Blower, Kent, Wayne, Flux and Maris. The anti-penultimate round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge at Silverstone, and a mystery. There's no Steve Cole on pole position, despite him having been the fastest man in practice. That leaves Ian Flux on the front row of the grid, all on his own. Flux looking for victory here, with the second row of Colin Blower and Jerry Marshall ready for the start of this race. And away they go, a cracking getaway by Flux and a dreadful stop by Colin Blower. Really blew the start there, looking back from Peter Wheeler's car. That's Tim Harvey flying up through the field. Harvey in the black car, diving down into the right-hander of Copse, a very full field as ever, and Harvey having started a long way down, 17th fastest in practice, swinging through on the inside, rapidly making up places. It's Ian Flux in the lead then, with Jerry Marshall in second place. Mark Hales is third as they now turn through Beckett's for the first time. Mark Hales, who could clinch the championship today with a bad result from Colin Blower, right up behind Marshall. Ian Flux in the lead, in fourth place there, Mark Hughes, fifth is Blower, sixth is John Kent. Andy Purvis with his green car runs a bit wide, something flies off somebody's machine. Martin Stewart, the Moose, out of Beckett's, through Chapel Curve and onto the Hangers straight there. Tim Harvey in the black car has the headlights ablaze, and Ian Flux has a good lead. Smoke from Hales' car, bodywork fouling against the tyre already as it brakes very heavily. The bodywork drops onto the rubber. There goes Tim Harvey. There goes Mark Newman, going very well here at Silverstone in his first year of anything other than single-seater racing. Bob Sands' blue Pioneer car runs wide, and Ian Flux leads Jerry Marshall at the Vale. Through the right-hander, accelerating now off up towards Abbey. In the lead is Flux, second is Marshall, third is Hales, fourth is Colin Blower around the outside there of John Kent, three abreast behind him. Tremendous battles.